Welcome to Brainish English Stories.
I had seen the magic shop many times from far away. I passed by it a couple of times, seeing all the cool stuff like magic balls, magic hens, and more. But I never thought of going inside. Then one day, Jip grabbed my finger and pulled me to the window. He pointed to cool things like the disappearing egg and the crying baby. He said he wanted them all. Jip's really interested in the stuff there. I told him we could look at the shop, but he didn't need to buy anything. We went inside, and it was different from other shops. There were cool things like a papier-mâché tiger, magic cards, and mirrors. Then the shopkeeper came in. The man behind the counter was strange looking. He had a pale face, one ear bigger than the other, and a chin that looked like a boot. "What can I help you with?" he asked, putting his hands on the glass case. "I want to buy some simple tricks for my son," I said. "What kind of tricks? Magic? Mechanical? Everyday stuff?" he asked. "Anything fun," I replied. The man thought for a moment, then pulled a glass ball out of his head. "Like this?" he said, showing it to us. It was unexpected. I'd seen this trick before, but not here. "That's cool," I said, laughing. "Isn't it?" said the man. Jip reached out to take the ball, but it wasn't there. The man said it was in my pocket, and it was. "How much is it?" I asked. "We don't charge for glass balls," the man said. "We get them for free." He pulled out more balls from his elbow and neck. "You can have these too," he said, giving them to us. Jip looked at them and then at the man, who smiled. "You can also have one for my mouth," the man said, and he did a trick to give us another ball. Jip looked at me and then put the balls away. He held onto my finger tightly, getting ready for the next trick. "We get all our small tricks this way," the man said. I laughed. "Instead of buying them from a store, right?" I said. "It's cheaper." "In a way," the man said, "but we still pay for it, just not as much as people think. Our big tricks and everything else we need come from that hat. And you see, sir, there isn't a wholesale shop for real magic goods. Did you notice our sign? The real magic shop." He gave me a card with the word genuine on it. "Real," he said, pointing to the word, and added, "We don't trick people, sir." He was really playing along with the joke. Then he turned to Jip with a friendly smile. You know, are the right kind of boy." I was surprised he knew that, because we keep it a secret at home. But Jip didn't say anything, just kept looking at him. Only the right kind of boy can go through that door. And as if to show, there was a noise at the door and a little voice said, "I don't want to go in there, Daddy. I don't want to go in there." New. Then a parent's voice tried to calm the child down. "It's locked, Edward," he said. "But it's not," I said. "It is, sir," the shopman said, "for that kind of child." We saw the other child, a pale face, probably from eating too many sweets, pawing at the glass. "It's no use," the shopman said as I tried to help. Soon, the spoiled child was taken away, crying. "How do you do that?" I asked, feeling relieved. "Magic," said the shopman, and sparks flew from his fingers. "You wanted one of our surprise your friends boxes?" he asked Jip. Jip managed to say yes. "It's in your pocket." And leaning over the counter, he produced the box like a magician. "Paper," he said, taking some from his hat. "String." and he pulled out a long thread from his mouth. After tying the parcel, he bit off the string, and it seemed like he swallowed it. Then he lit a candle with one of the dummy's noses, sealed the parcel with his red finger, and said, "Here's the disappearing egg," taking it from my coat. He packed it, along with the crying baby, very human. I handed each parcel to Jip, and he held them tight. He didn't say much, but his eyes said a lot. He was feeling so many things. These were real magic tricks. Then, I felt something moving in my hat. I took it off, and a ruffled pigeon, probably part of the trick, ran out and hid behind the tiger statue. "Oops," said the shopman, taking off my hat skillfully. "Silly bird. It made a nest." He shook my hat and out came a few eggs, a big marble, a watch, some glass balls, and lots of crumpled paper. He talked about how people forget to clean their hats properly, both inside and out. People carry all sorts of things with them, he said, pointing out that it wasn't just me. The crumpled paper kept coming out until he was almost hidden, still talking. "We don't know what people hide inside themselves," he said, before suddenly stopping. "Like when you turn off a noisy machine. Can I have my hat back?" I asked after a moment. No one answered. I looked at Jip, and he looked at me. We looked funny in the magic mirrors. "I think we should leave now," I said. "Can you tell me how much all this costs?" "I want my hat in the bill, please," I said a bit louder. There was a noise from behind the paper. "Let's check behind the counter," I said to Jip. "He's teasing us." We went around the tiger statue, and guess what? There was nobody there. Just my hat on the floor and a rabbit, looking silly and crumpled. I picked up my hat, and the rabbit hopped away. "Daddy," Jip said quietly. "What is it, Jip?" I asked. "I really like this shop, Daddy." "I like it too," I thought. If only the counter wouldn't suddenly block the door. But I didn't mention that to Jip. "Hello, Bunny," he said as the rabbit hopped past us. "Dua magic trick, Bunny." His eyes followed it as it went through a door I hadn't noticed before. Then the door opened wider, and the man with one big ear came back. He was still smiling, but his eye met mine with a mix of amusement and challenge. "Would you like to see our special room?" he asked politely. Jip pulled my finger, eager to go in. I looked at the counter and then back at the shopman. The magic seemed a bit too real now. "We don't have much time," I said. But somehow we were inside the special room before I could finish. "All our goods are the best quality," said the shopman, rubbing his hands together. "Nothing here isn't real magic." "Excuse me, sir." He pulled something off my coat sleeve, and I saw he was holding a small, wriggling red creature by the tail. It tried to bite him, but he tossed it behind the counter. It was probably just a rubber toy, but for a moment, I glanced at Jip, but he was looking at a magic rocking horse. I was relieved he hadn't seen the creature. Do you have many things like that?" I asked quietly, nodding towards Jip and the red thing. "Nope. You probably brought it with you," said the shopman, still smiling. "People carry all sorts of things without realizing." Then he turned to Jip. "See anything you like here?" There were lots of things Jip liked. He turned to the shopman with both confidence and excitement. "Is that a magic sword?" he asked. "It's a toy magic sword. It can't bend, break, or hurt your fingers. It makes you unbeatable in a fight against anyone under 18. Prices range from half a crown to 7 and 6 pence, depending on the size. These sets on cards are for young knights and very useful. Safety shield, fast sandals, invisible helmet. Wow, Daddy, exclaimed Jip. I tried to ask about the prices, but the shopman ignored me. He had Jip's attention now, showing him all his amazing stuff. I felt a bit jealous seeing Jip holding his finger instead of mine. The guy was interesting, I had to admit, and he had some really good fake stuff, but still, I followed them quietly, not saying much but keeping an eye on this tricky guy. Jip was having a great time, so I figured we'd leave when we wanted to. The showroom was big and messy, with stands and pillars everywhere. Strange assistants stared at us, and there were confusing mirrors and curtains. I couldn't even find the door we came through. The shopman showed Jip magic trains that ran without steam, and boxes of soldiers that came to life when you opened them and said a funny word. I couldn't quite catch it, but Jip got it right away. Well done, said the shopman, putting the soldiers away and giving the box to Jip. Now, said the shopman, and in a moment Jip made them come to life again. Do you want that box? Asked the shopman. Yes, please, I said, unless it's too expensive. Then we'd need a rich person. Oh, no need for that, said the shopman, putting the soldiers back, closing the lid, and wrapping it up in paper, with Jip's name and address on it. The shopman laughed at my surprise. This is real magic, he said. The genuine article. It's a bit too real for me, I said again. After that, he showed Jip more tricks, explaining how they worked. Jip watched with fascination, nodding along. I wasn't paying as much attention. Hey, presto, said the shopman, and Jip would echo, hey, presto. But I was distracted. This place felt really weird. Everything seemed off. The fixtures, the ceiling, the floor, even the chairs. It was like they moved when I wasn't looking. And the cornice had masks that looked too alive for plaster. Then something caught my eye. An assistant doing strange things with his face. He was far away, leaning against a pillar, unaware of me. His nose kept changing shape, like a short blob turning into a long whip. It was like a nightmare. He waved it around like a fly fisher casting a line. My first thought was to shield Jip from seeing him. I turned around, and there was Jip, busy talking to the shopman, unaware of any danger. They were whispering and glancing at me. Jip was standing on a stool, and the shopman had a big drum in his hand. Hide and seek, Daddy, shouted Jip. You're it. Before I could stop it, the shopman covered Jip with the drum. I knew what was happening right away. Take that off, I yelled. Right now. You'll scare the boy. Take it off. The shopman with the different ears did as I said, showing me that the drum was empty. But the stool was empty too. In that moment, my son had completely vanished. You might know that scary feeling when something bad is about to happen. It takes away your normal feelings and leaves you tense and focused, not too fast or too slow, not angry or scared. That's how I felt. I walked up to the grinning shopman and kicked his stool away. Stop playing games. I said, Where is my son? You see, he said, showing me the empty drum. There's no trick. I reached out to grab him, but he dodged me. I tried again, but he turned and opened a door to run away. "Stop!" I yelled, but he just laughed and disappeared. I chased after him, into total darkness. Thud. "Well, bless my heart. Didn't see you there, sir." I was in Regent Street, having bumped into a decent-looking man. And there, a bit away, looking a bit confused, was Jip. There were some apologies, and then Jip came to me with a smile, as if he had missed me for a moment. And he was holding 4 parcels. He grabbed onto my finger right away. For a moment, I was confused. I looked around for the magic shop, but it was gone. No shop, no door, nothing, just the usual pillar between the picture shop and the chick-filled window. In all the confusion, I did the only thing I could. I hailed a cab with my umbrella. "Handsome cabs," said Jip, sounding very pleased with himself. I helped him into the cab, remembered my address, and got in too. Something strange was in my tailcoat pocket, and I felt and found a glass ball. Annoyed, I threw it into the street. Jip didn't say anything. For a while, neither of us spoke. "Daddy," said Jip finally, "that was a great shop." That got me thinking about how the whole thing must have seemed to him. He seemed fine, no harm done. He was just really happy with the afternoon's fun, holding on to the 4 parcels. What could be in them? I said, "Boys can't visit shops like that every day." He took it in stride, and for a moment, I wished I could be his mother and give him a hug right there in the cab. But I thought, maybe it wasn't so bad after all. It was only when we opened the parcels that I felt relieved. 3 of them had boxes of toy soldiers, regular lead ones, but really good ones. Jip forgot they were supposed to be magic tricks. The 4th parcel had a kitten, a healthy, playful white kitten. Seeing this made me feel better. I stayed in the nursery with Jip for quite a while. That was 6 months ago. And now, I'm starting to believe everything is okay. The kitten is just a normal kitten, and the toy soldiers are as good as any. And Jip? A careful parent knows to be cautious with these things. But one day, I asked him, "Would you like your soldiers to come alive and march around by themselves?" "Mine do," said Jip. "I just have to say a special word before I open the box. And then they march by themselves?" "Yes, Daddy. That's how I like them." I didn't show any surprise. Since then, I've visited Jip a few times when the soldiers were out, but they never did anything magical. It's hard to say for sure. There's also the matter of money. I have a habit of paying bills. I've looked all over Regent Street for that shop, but I think they know Jip's name and address. I'll wait for them to send the bill.